Great good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Monday, June 15th, year of our Lord, 20 and 26. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 9:13 and change. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. Broadcasting today from the United States of America. I could prove it because people were beating the hell out of each other on the White House lawn. It's also the place for the brave. Like the veterans we salute today, thanks to our man John Basiliga. John Murphy, Nanticoke. Daniel Saporito, Pittston Township. And Larry Wynn, Bloomsburg's Lime Ridge. We've lost them this year, but celebrate them today, thanks to John. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our amazing, irreplaceable, and profoundly wise founding fathers who knew that government should not, would not, cannot, and never shall be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation, not any of these things. Because government power always means less freedom, less liberty, and less choice for America. And guess what? They knew that unlimited power would lead to abuse. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared by law to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Now, because they were armed with these freedoms, and only because of that fact, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, many of them rejects from around the world, they and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, well, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And yeah, the double entendre is intended. And so, we gavel to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our total, immersive, immovable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here for the balance of this singular, extraordinary morning. Gentle warning, this is not a safe harbor for stupidity. Such nonsense will be roundly and, dare I say, harshly attacked throughout the program. We will not suffer fools gladly. Their foolishness and ignorance, willful or otherwise, will be called out with intent, purpose, and vigor, designed and sadly necessary in today's world to save our great republic from evil, senselessness, and weakness, which can even now bring this noble and successful experiment down. Well, great to be with you guys on a Monday. I had a great weekend. What the heck did we do? Cutie, well, she's got what was Friday? And by the way, not being able to remember doesn't mean it wasn't good. What the heck did we do Friday? I know this. Saturday, there was up at St. Anthony's Playground. There's an old friend of mine named Chris Kelly. He was a couple of years ahead of me at Dunmore, and, we grew up together and all that, and a bunch of his friends got together. He passed away last year, and a bunch of his friends got together, put on a nice party, bands, everything. It was great, and hung around. It was like a Dunmore school reunion. It was really nice, a great fitting tribute to my friend Chris Kelly. And then, and friend to so many. And then yesterday, It was my parents' anniversary. So we went down to the Stegmeyer Mansion for brunch. Oh, my God. I mean, I cannot rave enough about it. You know I talk about these places all the time. But our girl Annie waited on us. By the way, the pleasure of the Stegmeyer Mansion starts off with the great valet guys. You pull up and they take the car. So I told, they asked, give us a shout out. I said, yes, we listen every day. So there you go. But you know what? I just realized he didn't say his name, and I know him too. But anyway, it started off from the valet right to Annie, who's the normal bartender, but she waited on our table yesterday. It was my parents' anniversary. Absolutely fabulous. I couldn't, nobody could get over how great it was. And, you expect to get whacked. It wasn't bad, price-wise either. Good stuff. I'm telling you. And obviously, I had a stop at a Taro over the weekend. Love that place. And then on Saturday, as Cutie says, she went over and had a blast over at Far Street Tavern. As good as ever. They had a band. Every place was just rocking. Just great. Fun had by all on that last beautiful weekend. Good stuff. I'll remember what I did Friday at some point. I don't know. I don't know if it'll come to my mind or somebody will remind me. But in any event, good weekend. I hope you had one too. It was restful, fun, recharging, or if you were working, that you made a lot of money. All those things combined. All right. We'll take our break, our first break. We want to hear from our great sponsors. We've got a little history. We've got a little music. And then we'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. cute. This date, 1960. They didn't have an idea what a teeny-weeny polka dot bikini was at the time, but Brian Holland, Murph tells us. He introduced himself to radio listeners with his first 45. Itsy-bitsy, teeny-weeny, yellow polka dot bikini. And then, of course, before that, 1864, Secretary of War Edwin Stanton signs an order establishing a military burial ground that would become Arlington National Cemetery. And appropriate that we took it off of Lee. It was his property. And it stands as among the most hallowed grounds in the world. Really is something. So a lot happened over the weekend. The UFC fight, I didn't get to see it. I've seen clips of it. I was for some reason I got like a flu for like not 24 hours, not quite. But I was shot yesterday. So I even if I could get it, although I understand it was only on Paramount Plus or something, but I was sent things, and I'm telling you, everything I saw, I said, this was fabulous. Absolutely amazing. The flyovers, the pageantry, the stagecraft. And I've said this to you before. A lot of people criticized whatever, because they'll criticize anything Trump does, which is fine. I ignore them at this point because it's like so silly, absolutely silly. Like, stop. In Italian, they say basta, enough. So anyway, I had said this about it before. One of the things that Trump understands more than any president that I've seen is that you've got to show the world we're crazy. We're violent. We will do whatever we have to. And don't mess with us. And that's what, to me, that's what the UFC fight on the lawn meant. To the Chinese, to the Iranians, to any rival. We've got a lot of tough hombres, and don't mess with us. That's what that said to me. And I think it was essential to show them what America is all about. And that's a good thing. So that was great. And then, of course, the Knicks. I was sort of, the Knicks, okay, whatever. The basketball, I watched it. I came home after the Chris Kelly thing, and I'm watching what they refer to as basketball. I will tell you, in the days when I played, the basketball on a street court would not be as terrible as the NBA right now. It was awful. And my kids are devoted to the NBA. I just look at it and I'm like, this is awful basketball. It's terrible. They don't know what they're doing. There's no plan. Guys just charge down the lane with the ball with no idea what they're going to do with it. And by the way, don't come up with any good solutions on the way. They walk. The refs let them take. You're only supposed to take one step. They take 3 and 4 and 5 and get away with it. It's awful basketball. It's terrible. But then I'm like, okay, the Knicks won good, 53 years, whatever. And then I see I'm doing air quotes on the live stream, brought to you by the great gang at Roach Supply. I'm doing air quotes. They're fans. A bunch of sickening thugs. Destroying things, attacking cops, turning it into a riot. You won, you stupid asses. I'm like, I wish they didn't win. I really wish they didn't win. It was a disgusting, idiotic display. It is frightening. And when you watch that, you say to yourself, oh, now I know why they elected Mamdani. Because he's a savage idiot with a smile. They're savage idiots. My God. What an embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Fred Duckman texts in, thanks for playing that Red Skelton spot this morning. It should mean a lot to everyone since yesterday was Flag Day. Yeah, Bulldog, I didn't even notice. Do we have, we got to find, and we'll finish with Bulldog. We'll finish with Johnny Cash, Ragged Old Flag, okay? Because Flag Day was yesterday. I know that because it's my parents' anniversary. I don't know Flag Day on its own. I know it because it's my parents' anniversary. In any event, Flag Day yesterday, so we'll finish with Ragged Old Flag today. Yeah, crazy stuff. I'm like, unbelievable. Somebody takes in Bob LTS, TDS on full display, left outrage about the UFC fight, but not a word when trannies were undressing, exposing their breasts on the White House lawn. Slick, you're right 100%. Absolutely idiotic. Absolutely idiotic. I'm proud that they did that. I'm happy they did that. And let that be a warning. Despite all the namby-pamby fruitcakes and left-wing agitators and Islamist radicals in this country, we are still the best. We'll be back with our Veterans Tribute. Our Veterans Tribute brought to you every day by our man, John Basiliga. And today, it's Monday. So we start with his biggest company, his first company, Eastern Roofing Systems. This huge company is headquartered in Jessup. They're the premier roofing contractor in the eastern United States. Commercial, institutional, industrial. And guess what? They take all that expertise, all that buying power, because they're here in Jessup, in Northeast PA. They'll do your house. They'll also take on your biggest project or your smallest one. Eastern Roofing Systems. John Murphy. He was only 68 when we lost him June 4th. He was from Nanticoke. He resided most of his life in West Nanticoke. Graduated from John Fine High School, Nanticoke, class is 1975. After graduation, John enlisted with the U.S. Navy, November 1975. He served aboard the aircraft carrier USS America. Honorably discharged 1979. He was employed at State Correctional Institute, Dallas, retiring as a sergeant. He also operated the feed mill hot dog stand in West Nanticoke, worked in security for King's College, and owned and operated Murphy's Grove, West Nanticoke, for many years. John was a well-respected member and trustee of the Fraternal Order of Eagles, Nanticoke. Member of the Coit Club, the West Side Playground Association. Surviving is his companion of 18 years, Lucy Misevich. His sister, brothers, nieces, nephews, and other family members, John Murphy. Our great veteran this hour, brought to you by our man John Basiliga and his great Eastern Roofing Systems. AccuWeather forecast for Northeast Pennsylvania, brought to you by the great gangs, which has already sprung into summer. Montage Mountain, the water park, is full steam ahead. Today, partly sunny, not as warm. Lower humidity, a nice afternoon for outdoor activities, 73 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny, nice afternoon for outdoor activities again. That means the water park, 77 degrees, low 55. Wednesday, a blend of sun and clouds with a couple of showers, more humid, high 78, low 62. Thursday, windy and humid with clouds and breaks of sun, a gusty thunderstorm in the afternoon. Storms can bring flash flooding and damaging winds, high 86, low 60. Friday, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a passing shower in the late afternoon. High 75, low 54. Great weather forecast for Montage Mountain Water Park. It just is. It's 63 degrees on Montage Mountain as we speak. The Four Seasons. Murph tells us this date, 1964, they released their hit Ragdoll. Bob Cordaro back with you. The Mike Munchak Golf Tournament today at Elmhurst Country Club to benefit the United Way. That should be a lot of fun before, both during and after. Our man Chet Parlavecchio in town. I'm a little miffed at him. My sister-in-law Joy ran into him, and I'm like, well, why didn't he call me? Well, maybe we'll talk to him later today, but we'll see. Anyway, somebody texted Bob LTS, back at you. Gavin Newsom Hail Mary pass trails Kamala Harris by 13 points. So he reached out to Hunter Biden on his podcast, and Newsom floated a Newsom Biden ticket. My God. I saw that. Anyway, continues for name recognition in 2028, and Hunter Biden said he would accept. The Bidens refused to go away. I was going to talk about this Friday and got sidetracked. Not the Newsom nonsense, but it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, two degenerates. That would be the all-degenerate team. Total degenerates with no redeeming qualities. Not either one of them. Wow. It is frightening. It shows the desperation. By the way, that's two people who are just desperate to be relevant, and they're not. It's just like Jill Biden's, her little tour. And you just look at it and you say, and by the way, please don't let them go away. Let people be reminded what the Democrat Party is, what it gave us, and what it will continue to give us. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Somebody texted in about, did I have the Irish flu? No, I did not. By the way, I would readily admit it, but I did not. I don't even know what it was. But, what? I don't know, about 18 hours of sleep, and I'm semi back to normal in any event. Somebody says, not a peep about Iran's deal. Is that because he's paying the Iranians $25 billion? Oh, my God. Oh, my. I'm telling you, haters are disgusting. You couldn't be dumber. You could not be more stupid. Oh, my God. I will guarantee you, this person didn't give a spit when Biden lifted the embargo on Iranian oil, which gave them the money to create the weaponry program that we are now forced to dismantle. Guaranteed, you idiot. Wow. I'm telling you, I don't understand this. The reports are that part of the deal, just to explain it to some of you, part of the deal, if it happens, and by the way, it appears as though it will, although sources from the gay Ayatollah, I call him Fredo Ayatollah, Ayatollah, and the IRGC, that's the military, that's the SS, that's the Iranian SS, that they are saying it's not a deal. The foreign minister is. So we're going to see. I'm not, what do you think, I'm doing cartwheels over the deal? Unfortunately, it looks like in the end, this will be more what the Israelis have always called mowing the lawn. Now, this mowing of the lawn happens to be the most substantial in the 50 years of this Iranian despoty. But it still is that, nevertheless. Now, let's see how it unfolds. I'm not doing cartwheels about it. I wish we had killed every one of them. And by the way, I hope Israel, which has excellent on-the-ground intelligence in Iran, kills another level of leadership. I really hope and pray they do. And I feel like, do I feel good about saying people should be killed? No. But they have to be. This is not a choice. They didn't give us a choice. You've got to destroy evil. You've got to stamp it out. Trump has done more and shown more guts than any president since Iran took charge, or the mullahs took charge of Iran. 1979. More by a mile. So shut up. Just shut up. Because you didn't care about the $180, $200 billion that Biden allowed Iran to have that made them a true regional threat. You didn't say anything about the $1.4 billion in cash that was delivered to Iran that they used to finance the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah. You didn't say a word about it, so shut up. Just shut up. Seriously. You're an idiot. And you think you make some kind of a point. First of all, you don't even know it happened. It didn't happen yet. So stop. I don't get this. I'm telling you, this TDS, it is a serious mental illness. It really is. They will do anything. They will say anything. They look for these tiny little points, and they sat through 4 years of the Biden administration, which were disgusting, which were sickening culturally, militarily, foreign policy, economically. They said nothing. Unreal. So, look it. Is it a peace deal? No. It's an agreement to talk. Now, the one thing I will say is this. He better, well, I say a lot. He better make sure, Trump better make sure that the Iranians cannot influence the flow of traffic in the Strait of Hormuz ever again. Not just open it now, ever again, and do whatever has to be done. That's my view. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. We're back. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Somebody texts out Bob LTS. Back at you. The Newsom-Biden ticket they're floating is for real. These people in the Democrat Party are mentally insane. They recruited a Nazi candidates like Plattner and social candidates. Now there's another one in Washington, D.C. to become the next mayor. By the way, in D.C. they could do less damage, but nevertheless. In all fairness, Newsom-Biden, no worse than whatever. I agree. That's how bad they are. That's how horrible they are. By the way, my man Mark Mayer sent me Bill Maher. Do you see why we don't get like guys like Stephen A. Smith and Bill Maher? We don't get all excited on this program when they say something normal. Because at some point in the very near future, they're going to say something insane or behave insanely. Bill Maher's for Graham Plattner. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to ban quotes of his from the show. It just means, remember, he's still an idiot in the end. An educated idiot, an intelligent idiot, but an idiot nevertheless. He's fine with... there is no way, and there's not on any planet that is habited by intelligent life that somebody like Graham Plattner, the main Democrat Senate nominee, ever achieves a position of power. He is sick. He's a liar. He's a disgrace. He was a Nazi, but see, that didn't work out well for him. So he switched to become a communist. And that's working out because today's Democrat Party is the Communist Party. And people like Bill Maher are so desperate to have the Democrat Party rule, they will put up with every wart, every disgusting thing just for that, just because they're Democrats. Crazy. Hey, it's 10 o'clock, but Fred, we got 30 seconds, man. Fire away.
Fred, Bob, we used to play basketball as a street game. We used to go see the Sixers in the late 70s and 80s, and it was a professional game. It was a great game. And when you saw them guys, Magic and Irving and McHale and, Spud Webb, whoever it may be, it was a professional game.
Yep.
It was very little contact, and the only idiot that was really a fighter, Daryl Dawkins, I met in the Poconos. It was a great time.
Yeah.
These guys were professional, and when they had a series, it was a great series, and there was no anything like the game. And Trump was there because he wanted to go there and he wanted to see basketball. That's it. It was not a big deal. Everybody's making a big deal.
It's just awful basketball, though. Fred, it is awful. It's for me to watch it. I understand the game a little bit, but I understand it enough to know that is terrible. It's really not worth watching. My kids have subjected me to it, and I was home Saturday night, and I'm like, okay, let me turn it on. Awful.
When they won the second game after Trump, they lost the game, and I said if New York does not win,
they'll blame it on them.
Number one, they both stink because they both can't play, basketball professionally. How could I say it, Bob? But thanks for the time.
All right, my man. Thank you. With you 100%. 10:01 and change on my Bacardo Jewelers watch. So, and remember, it's grads and dads. this week, big week to get the Picardos and find something. Doesn't have to be a watch. They got everything. Could be anything you think. A little piece of jewelry. I'm telling you, they got stuff for every price range. They truly do. Dads and Grads. That's Dads and Grads week at Picardo Jewelers. We'll be back. You know it, baby, and we're fighting it. Great good morning, everyone. 10:11 a.m. on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This beautiful Monday, June 15, year of our Lord 2026, here in the great Northeast, where the two big boy trains are assembled at Steamtown National Park. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his Great Eastern Roofing Systems, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we salute today, having lost them this year. Thanks to John, though, we remember them. Like John Murphy, Nanticoke, Daniel Saporito, Pittston Township, and Larry Wynn, Lime Ridge section of Bloomsburg. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order after a brief news adjournment, this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all who hearken here. I'm watching my monitor, and Trump has arrived in Geneva off the, it's a bit of a triumph, the Iran deal, if it fleshes out properly. But on top of that, the UFC event, his 80th birthday, I mean, talk about indefatigable. He just, and people will tell you this. It's not the fake, oh, you can't keep up with him with Joe Biden. Like, that was sickening. A sickening joke, which we knew was a lie when they were saying it. The truth of Trump is he's off the hook with energy. It's insane. Anyway, in fact, too much energy, because then he keeps his mouth moving too much. In any event, it's Monday. Well, what does Monday mean? It means Monday Musings with John Perillo. And here he is, our man. How are you, John?
Busy week, isn't it?
Yes, it always is.
I know.
You know what? I say this out of great respect for him, not only the incredible amount of energy Trump has and the talent of his cabinet, but he is taking on all problems knowing he can never be president again. You know, that this is it. His only chance to fix things. So he takes on everything on so many fronts.
Yeah, we'll talk about the deal once I understand a little bit more. I mean, I think as you said, the details are very, very sketchy, and it's, you know, if you're listeners, I'd hang on and let's listen. I have to admit, I'm with you. I'm not very hopeful, but let's see what happens. And
I say this at the very least, we've mowed the grass.
You mowed the grass
Substantially, by the way.
Yes.
Not just for 6 months or 8 months. We've mowed the grass for years.
Yeah, and I think what determines the effectiveness of that is, you know, the Israelis mowed the grass for decades, and you know you have to remain vigilant if you do that. And like I said, we'll dig into that maybe a little bit later. But you know, a couple of weeks ago we discussed the papal encyclical on AI, and I don't think you have to be Catholic or even particularly religious to understand why that was so important. What we were discussing at that time was what it really means to be human. And in the case of AI, it isn't that you get a computer-generated chat that makes you feel good or that matches what you want to say. It's the very imperfection of human interaction that makes it both human and, if you're so inclined, even divine, only if you're so inclined, right? But acknowledging our imperfections that we can see is there's only one source of perfection, which is God, and to expect perfection either physically or in knowledge is to commit the sin of trying to be like God. And that's not saying we shouldn't try to use science or medicine to better ourselves or that we shouldn't take care of our bodies. Those are objective goods. But to think that we should alter our physical beings or outsource our morality to a machine seems, you know, to be extremely dangerous. And I wanted to stick with that a little bit because the Pope, you know, went on to talk about life issues, and you know, the church has consistently supported life from conception to natural death. And I wanted to introduce you to a woman named Kathy Tai. She's now Canadian, and she calls herself the Biotech Barbie.
And she started 3 biotech companies, one in LA, one in Toronto, one in New York. She tried to start a 4th one in Beijing, China, where she was born, oh, by the way, and was banned from re-entering her own country. She's married to a Chinese scientist named He Shengju, who spent 3 years in a prison for illegally creating gene-edited human babies. And it's okay, they're separated now. But what Ms. T wants to do is to edit the genes in embryos to prevent things like cystic fibrosis or hereditary cancers. And now, to her credit, she's doing this out in the open. There's other people trying to do this behind, without being public about it, and she's trying to get funding from venture capitalists. And just so you know, the hardest part about engineering a baby genetically is getting the permission to do that. You may have heard of CRISPR, which is a gene editing tool. It was invented all the way back in 2012. And using that tool, you can seek out specific DNA sequences and change them. And you don't even need to have lots of experience as a molecular biologist to pull that off. And what makes that interesting is that unlike what we know as treatments for disease, once you change the DNA of an embryo, then every cell of this new human will have the re-engineered DNA. And perhaps more importantly, every generation after that embryo matures will also have the same changes because they will be passed along through either the egg, if our baby turns out to be a girl, or the sperm if it's a boy. And Ms. Tai herself says, quote, "This is obviously the most consequential technology of our generation because it fundamentally impacts and changes our understanding of what we can do with our species," end quote. Now, that's because you aren't changing something within the individual. You're changing something within the species, human that is, itself. And remember what I said when we were discussing AI. Some of the smartest people out there are saying that we should outsource decision-making to AI. Well, OpenAI's Sam Altman and his husband, Oliver Mulhern, along with Brian Armstrong, who's the CEO of cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase, they're both investing heavily in this gene editing technology. Now, even without editing genes, we can already search out the ones that we want the most. The name of this pre-implementation genetic testing. So it's called PGT, pre-implementation genetic testing. So you can, quote, choose the embryo that best matches what you want. Oh, and this is already routine in the U.S. That tagline, choosing the embryo, comes from a company called Nucleus Genomics, and it's have your best baby, end quote. Now, to this point, in the U.S., this PGT technology is limited to embryo selection. You can sort through a bunch of embryos and pick out the one you want. You can pick one that's taller or smarter or healthier, but basically you're looking at a bunch of potential children and choosing the traits that you want them to have. So not quite designing one. But this is happening today in the U.S., in this country, which is why, because it's Monday Musing, it brings us back to morality. And to be fair, this isn't the first time we've used science to help us pick who gets to survive. The process is called eugenics, allowing only the smartest, best-looking people to breed, and you improve the race. Now let's quote Ms. Tai's husband here. "Designer babies, super smart or super good-looking, are inevitable," end quote. And Ms. Tai wound up naming her genetic engineering project, wait for it here, the Manhattan Project, which, if the name sounds familiar to you, was the name of the atomic bomb project. Says Ms. Tai, quote, "Two nuclei are essential for understanding the universe, the nucleus of the atom and the nucleus of the cell," end quote. Well, yeah, we were in the middle of a war right now over the misuse of the one with the atom. So she goes on to say that, like nuclear power, quote, "Biology is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good to heal people, or it can be used for bad." Tai continues, "Stopping this research will only drive bad actors to do it secretively. There's no way to stop this. It's inevitable. The only way to proceed is to do it openly and transparently," end quote. But she doesn't name the people she's working with or who her investors are or where her research is based or where they are in the process. But she does say, if this will make you feel better, that they're much safer than they were just a couple of weeks ago, and that they don't allow any embryo that's been altered to be implanted. They're all killed before 14 days gestation. I suppose that's supposed to make you feel a little bit better here. And here we get into an interesting moral discussion. Ms. Tai argues that editing the embryo's genetics is morally superior to sorting through embryos, which is what we're doing now, for the ones that you want, because you don't have to destroy any of the unwanted ones. Look, this is not the place for a discussion on abortion. But, let's listen to Ms. Tai herself. Quote, "We shouldn't throw away an embryo because of something we can fix. We fix it, just like if somebody has a disease. If we treat it instead of throwing the whole person away." I'll just leave that one out there for a little bit, right? You guys think about that, which is back to our original question. What does it mean to be human? right? I'm in the middle of some very painful rehab, and I sure wish somebody could fix it. Or perhaps before I was born, somebody like Miss Ty could have looked at some data and said that my joints were destined to give out before 100,000 miles, and therefore I shouldn't exist. Right? We just came back, Bob, this weekend from visiting the newest baby Perillo, and I will tell you that physically she's not perfect, but she's perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can look at the kids from ARC that Bob highlights on his show and either delight in them and their adult assistance, or we can look at their disability and say that theirs is not a life worth living. And we can, because it's Monday Musings, ask for wisdom and to love as we've been taught to, or we can build another tower like the people of Babylonia, attempt to reach the heavens, to be gods, to be like gods, to bite the apple so we can determine for ourselves what's good and evil. You know, we can wonder that imperfect people can lead loving and fulfilling lives, or we can rail at the imperfections and try to, quote, fix them. Which brings us back to our first question. What does it mean to be human? Can we just build a better, more attractive person? Or even if you aren't religious, does this just sound a little bit wrong to you? And if it sounds wrong, what is it in your humanity, even if you're not religious, that makes you think that this is icky? And what do we call that feeling? Right? And I'll leave you all with this for this week, just something to think about. I know we got a lot of news going on, but at the core of this needs to be that question of what does it mean to be human, and what are we doing with the knowledge that we have? What's the difference between knowledge and wisdom? And maybe with Bob, I'll dig into the deal as we get more about it. We can maybe talk about that later.
Well,
okay.
And something else will happen by then. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right, my man. Thank you very much. Our man John
All right,
Perillo, Monday
Hey,
Musings.
have a great week.
You too, brother.
Thank
We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Trump arriving in Geneva with all the attendant pageantry and the helicopters. And he just knows how to put on a show. He knows how to show American power. I just love it. Just love it. Anyway, that's I got to love this song from Apocalypse Now. It was part of the movie. But this day, 1968, Murph tells us music directors across the nation received a new 45 from Fantasy Records. It was a new group called Creedence Clearwater Revival, and the song was Susie Q. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. Big boys here. And we're going to talk with David DeCosmo after the Veterans Tribute of the weather, because he said, I'm not an expert on the big boy and all this, but I went to see when Big Boy went over the Nicholson Bridge. And so we're going to hear this. But somebody tells me, they said, you should see the line for the Big Boy. It's 2 blocks long. It goes down to the U-Haul. So that's more than 2 blocks. It's across the bridge and around the corner. It's got to be thousands or more to go see the Big Boy. Love it. By the way, Ed from Nanacoke texted in, and I'm hoping to see Big Boy. I'm hoping to see these trains. It's funny. Joe McDade brought Steamtown and created a national park. Jimmy McNulty brought Steamtown here with some other good people. And it was here, and it was floundering. And Joe McDade made it into a national park. His master stroke of bringing home the bacon. And this is going to be, after how many years? 30 years? This will be 30 plus. The time when this national park brings home the bacon to this area. Absolutely fabulous. So I hope you get to see it. I hope I get to see it. Ed from Nanacoke texted in, Bob, June 14th, Flag Day, anniversary of your parents, congratulations, and the birthday of the U.S. Army. Ed from Nanacoke. We might play a clip about that. But, 251st birthday of the U.S. Army on June 14th. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you to the Army man. Thank you, Ed, for reminding me of it. All right, let's hear from our sponsors. We'll come back. We've got the Veterans Tribute, we've got the weather, and we've got David DeCosmo. All that on the other side. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute, brought to you dutifully, honorably, patriotically, each and every hour, each and every day, by our man John Basiliga. And it's Monday, so we feature his biggest company, his first company, Eastern Roofing Systems. Headquartered in Jessup, they are the premier roofing contractor in the eastern United States. Institutional, industrial, commercial. And they take all that expertise, all that buying power, they bring it home to Northeast Pennsylvania, taking on the biggest projects in this region, all the way to your home. Great stuff. Eastern Roofing Systems. Daniel Saporito. He was from Pittston Township. We lost him June 6th. Born in Pittston. He was a graduate of Pittston High School. He proudly served all of us in the U.S. Navy. For many years, Danny worked as a counselor at the Whitehaven Center. When not working, you could find him hunting, fishing, hanging with his grandson, who he loved to hunt and fish with. He'd go to the casino. He loved horse racing, playing the slots, Atlantic City, playing cards, taking care of the yard. Loved to watch his grandchildren play basketball. Survived by his wife for 56 years, married Judith Trolio Saporito. His son, Dr. Daniel Saporito, and his wife, Kara, from Shavertown. Grandchildren, Daniel and Pia. Daniel Saporito, our great veteran this hour, brought to you by our man John Basiliga and Eastern Roofing Systems. Well, the AccuWeather forecast brought to you by our gang up at Montage Mountain, and the water park is open, and it is fabulous, and it's ready for you. Today, partly sunny, not as warm, lower humidity. Nice afternoon for outdoor activities like the water park, high 73. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny, nice afternoon for outdoor activities like the water park at Montage, high 77, low 55. Wednesday, blend of sun and clouds, couple of showers, more humid, 78, low 62, an even better day for the water park. Thursday, windy and humid with clouds and breaks of sun. Gusty thunderstorm in the afternoon. Storms can bring flash flooding and damaging winds, but there'll be no flooding at Montage Mountain. High 86, low 60. Friday, intervals of cloud and sunshine with a passing shower in the afternoon. High 75, low 54. And that's your weather, brought to you by the gang at Montage Mountain, where the water park is flowing. It's 65 degrees at Montage. Well, you know, when you hear March of the Cue Balls, you know what's coming next. It's our man David DeCosmo. David, how are you? Welcome back to the program, David.
Well, thank you so much, Bob.
Hey, I ran into your wife yesterday.
Yes,
at the
I
Stegmeyer
understand you
Mansion.
attended the same luncheon, Stegmeyer Mansion.
Yes, and she was with a group of young ladies, and I asked. It was it's sort of a joke I tell, but I go up to this table of ladies, and I say, "Ladies," I said, "they said that the former Miss America's meeting was in town. Is this it?" Without hesitation for a second, they go, "Yes, it is." And then she said, "I recognize you. What's your name?" Your wife did. And I said, "Bob Cordaro." She goes, "Oh, yes, yes, yes." Because I told her she's I didn't tell her, but I'll tell you. She's even more of a child bride than she appears to be on your Instagram account.
Well, yes, I stole stole from the cradle. I must admit that this is the thing that utterly amazes me. This engine, it's one of the 25 that were built in the 40s. There's, I think, like 8 of them left, and this is the only operational one. But there is another on permanent display at Steamtown. I'm coming home the other day from the YMCA. I'm on a back road, Westminster Road. And where Westminster Road hits Old Pittston Boulevard, there was just off the side of the road, there was a swimming hole. But it's owned by a utility company now, and they police it pretty well, especially in the warm weather. Well, I'm coming down this road, and I'm seeing what had to be 25 cars. This is a back road.
Yeah.
You're in the woods back there, and I thought, boy, are they going in there swimming? And I got home, then it dawned on me they weren't swimming. They were waiting to see Big Boy cross over this little stone archway bridge that's back in the woods there. And yesterday I said, I have to see it too. Now, I think you indicated I had gone to Nicholson. My grandson was at Nicholson.
Okay, is that where the film came from, though, right?
Yes, some of that video is from up there. I went to Mountaintop, and every single railroad crossing was jammed with people. They had to have security at the most urban, most suburban railroad crossings you can imagine. There's somebody there from the rail company trying to make sure that everybody is back about 25 feet, trying to negotiate cars in these back roads because they're parked on both sides. And up there where Route 309 hits Route 437 on the top of Penobscot Mountain, there's a bridge that overlooks the tracks, and down the track just a little bit is the rail yards. You couldn't find breathing space along those roads.
Amazing.
This amazes me because you're talking about people. I'm in my 80s. I rode the trains. I took a self-propelled passenger car from Hazleton to Jim Thorpe, and then got on the Black Diamond and went to New York City in my Cub Scout uniform by myself. My dad met me at Penn Station in New York. So I've always loved trains.
Hilarious.
But you've got people of all ages coming out to see this thing. Now, it did help that it was a weekend, and that for the bulk of that weekend you had some pretty good weather too. But the vantage points were everywhere. I went through the woods in Mountaintop, again, off a back road, to find a spot where there was a little bit of open area and I could get a nice shot. The other side of the tracks, there had to be 38, 40 people on lawn chairs, and the side that I was on was just a couple of us waiting to get the view from that angle. It's wonderful because it's bringing people together.
Yeah.
We talk about divisiveness right now. There's no question about it. There's a tremendous divide. But there are things that bring people together. This is one of them. When you're together, you're gabbing. Maybe it's about trains. Maybe it's about your neighborhood. Maybe it's about your family. But you're mingling with people. People don't join anymore, Bob. The service clubs are not getting the influx of new members. So it's important for people to get together, and Big Boy is doing that. Now, it's going to be up at Scranton, oh boy, I think until the 30th, and then it moves out again, heading south.
I thought it was only the 2 days.
Well,
I hope. Well, it says on the highway signs the 15th and the 16th. And I was concerned if I only had 2 days to see it.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be there more, but you may be right because it's got a lot of space to cover yet. I think it's going to be in Philly for July 4th, I believe so, for the 250th anniversary. But in any case, when it moves out again, it's going to take that same trajectory, I believe, down through this area. So there's going to be another. If you can't get up there to see it, there is going to be another opportunity as it moves, and of course along its various stops. I don't know if it's been drawing these same kind of crowds throughout the whole journey, but I mean it started out west and came east, and now will go south from here. And
David, I was saying earlier, I said the great people, including Mayor McNulty, who brought Steamtown to Scranton from Bellows Falls, Vermont, and Joe McDade, who made this into the national park, which saved it.
Yep, Mayor McNulty too.
This is almost the culmination of the creation of that national park. It's the biggest event they've ever had.
And I think it's going to reawaken people to the fact that it's there. Now, I've visited there regularly, Bob. My grandson is 10 now, but when he was, 5, 6, we would go there probably every week. And all the license plates you would see were from other states, people coming in to Steamtown. You remember, this is free.
Yeah.
Steamtown, I think there's a certain charge with Big Boy's appearance. I'm not sure about that. If it is, it's nominal. But the museum is there all the time. One of the Big Boy's sister engines is there all the time, and it's all painted up. It's just tremendous. Steamtown can only do one thing to make me happier, and that's to take the train that was at Naog Park, the little train for kids, put the track out and run the darn thing up there.
Yeah.
It's on display, but I'd like to see it running.
Oh, neat stuff. Well, David, we knew you would go into reporter mode when Big Boy came to town and cover it for us, and we thank you for that.
Well, I thank you for getting a chance to talk about it, because it is something to say. Have a great week. Hope all your news is good.
And I'll find out how long it's here for sure, so I can let the audience know. Thank you,
good.
The great David DeCosmo. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Tommy James and the Shondells. This date, 1968, they moved up to number 3 with their hit, Moni Moni. Bob Cordaro back. And, you know, I don't care what the question is. This is the smartest audience in radio for sure. Probably the smartest audience, period. I just throw it out there and I get the answer. It doesn't matter what it is. Geopolitical matters, doesn't matter. But getting back to the big boy. So a bunch of you texted in. It's open, meaning you get to go see Big Boy up close today and tomorrow. But then the 17th through the 30th, it will remain here. So both David and I were correct. Distant viewing, because they've got to clean the boiler and do maintenance before it travels back across the country. Okay, good stuff. And the Carpenter says the same thing. Hi, Bob Carpenter checking in. He says, LTS, back at you. According to Steamtown's website, the big boy is on close-up display today and tomorrow, but will remain here to see from a greater distance while it gets some maintenance until June 30th. He saw it come out of the Piston yard yesterday, and it was incredible. I would like to see it running. I've got to go see it in situ, but also at Steamtown, but also I want to see it running. I want to see it coming out and leaving and all that. So I got to remember the 30th. All right. We're back. Bob Cordaro with you. And just a reminder, you can catch all of this. There's so many ways to observe the program. We're on 103.1 FM, 980 AM, 910 AM. We are also on WILKNewsRadio.com, and you could listen live. And then that's part of the Odyssey, AUDACY, Odyssey.com, where you could also catch the show. And the, for example, a lot of people ask about the Veterans Tributes. They find out about them later and say, oh, that was my cousin or my family member or whatever. And the Bulldog downloads the program each day by about 3 o'clock. And you could catch all our prior episodes. You could also catch our show live and all prior episodes on YouTube, WILKNewsRadio.com, or I'm sorry, YouTube, WILK, Bob Cordaro Show. Now today, I'm wearing my HTS Systems. Great, I got my HTS Systems shirt my buddy gave me, and he runs that company. And so you can see all this on YouTube. Roach Supply, ROCHE, because Roach Supply is the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast PA. The best. They are the best. And you know how you know they're the best? They're celebrating 75 years in business. I saw Danny Roach. Danny Roach was at the event for Chris Kelly. Great guy. One of the 3 generations working side by side up in Honesdale. And they've also got Chapman Supply in Clark Summit. Or I apologize. I was corrected from the grave by Al Lockett. South Abington Township. 75 years in business. Visit roachsupply.com today, ROCHE. You'll see that. And by the way, next hour, in case I forget to mention it, brought to you by Tina Morocco. She's a global sales advisor at Sotheby's Realty, Naples, Florida. And you could go and find her at Sotheby's in Naples or TinaMorocco.com, MURACCO, or Tina Morocco on any social media. She's great. Friends of mine that have dealt with her, and I know her very well. So I could guarantee you this, but I could tell you from direct customers for a seamless, great experience with Tina Morocco. She is your trusted guide for Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. Good stuff. Sue the cat checking in. She's telling me to take zinc. It's not really I don't know. I got a cough. I forget whatever. By the way, my man Gerald Z, he says, you are correct with your criticism of what passes as basketball game these days. He says, I sort of compare it to a hockey game without ice and padding. They will be getting sticks soon. I was only taught to take one step without dribbling. If you stop dribbling, you can't start again. You could probably see a better game of basketball at Weston Field after a school day. You're right. Speaking of Weston Field, Gerald tells us, they're hauling blacktop in as I speak to pave a patch in the middle of the field for God knows what reasons. Can't get the streets paved, but they can dig up and pave a previously sodded field. The taxpayer money has to burn. Well, that's our awful mayor. God, she's just terrible. By the way, a bunch of people sent me an article. I guess it must have been somewhere over the weekend. It might have been the New York Post. I'm trying to remember. But how the mayor of Scranton had a criminal on some board. And I respectfully texted back. I said, well, I don't think I'll touch that one. In any event. But it's typical. It's typical. Don't forget, the drug dealers who had a front business that she went to cut the ribbon. Now, if that's not blind stupidity, I don't know what is. It's a level of incompetence we have never seen in the city of Scranton. Terrible stuff. By the way, somebody says on the Big Boy, we saw it from the top. How about this is a good venue? We saw it from the top of Giants Despair in Laurel Run. The place was packed. Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Monday, June 15th, the day after Flag Day. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:09 and change here in the great Northeast. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Eastern Roofing Systems, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John. Like Larry Wynn of the Lime Ridge section of Bloomsburg, Daniel Saporito, Pittston Township, and John Murphy, Nanticoke. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle, gaveling back to order after that brief news adjournment. This meeting, today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all who hearken here. So, yeah, how about the hee-haw thing? That's great. Somebody texted in, hello again, Bob. Hee-haw replaced the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. As Johnny Carson would say, I did not know that. When CBS canceled the show for being too political and insulting government officials. Ha ha! Especially over the war in Vietnam, says Fred Duckman. All right, Fred. I'll go with it. You tell me it's good. Yeah. Don't you worry about it. Hey, so I saw Disclosure Day over the weekend. And you know we love our Scranton Art House. And it's the Steven Spielberg Day about aliens. And I don't think I'm blowing any confidences here if you didn't see it yet. I don't know if it's worth it. It's a little long. I got to tell you, the seats are so comfortable, it was great. My son and my mother, we went to see it with me in the morning. And so I don't know. I can't really tell you that it's worth seeing, but the theater experience is still special, especially at the Scranton Art House, because it's just so comfortable. They bring you your food. They bring you whatever you want. So, that part of the experience. But the movie, I'm not a movie critic or reviewer. It was a little uneven. I mean, Steven Spielberg movies, from Jaws, going back to, we were talking about it with Mr. Paul over the weekend, his Steven Spielberg directing the first episode of Columbo. And then a great movie like Duel with Dennis Weaver that was on when ABC used to have its own movies. And on down, E.T., name them. They're all amazing. This is not one of them. It attempts to be one of them, but I must tell you, it isn't. Great cinematography. I mean, like the gorgeous pictures and whatever. But there's chase scenes that they just defy reality. And you tell me if you agree or disagree, if you either seen it or when you do go see it. I don't know. It was like there'd be a guy, he's running from whomever. And, sorry, I'm having some of my honey from the mulberry bush up there in Falls. In any event, there'd be I don't know, it was just implausible and by the way, unnecessarily so. And they have the thing with this device where the guy could supposedly manipulate people's actions or take over their minds or whatever. I don't know. The movie could have been better. And then if you see the movie, the ending is incredibly weak. So, hey, Spielberg, what is he, 80? I mean, I saw interviews. They said, well, this could question your belief in God. Well, not at all. And I remember there's a scene in the movie where they're disclosing, it's disclosure day, and they're disclosing on television about these aliens. And they're showing everybody the traffic stops. And everybody's watching on their phones. They're on a flight. Everybody's watching on their phones. Like, the whole world stops to watch this. You know what I think would happen? And like, oh, everything will change. I will bet the majority of us believe there has been alien contact. A substantial number believe that the government's covered it up. I think we'd be like, okay, this is fascinating, but we wouldn't have our jaws dropping. So I don't know. It wasn't great. But the movie experience was great at the Scranton Art House. I mean, it just was. That I will tell you. But the movie itself, I'm going to go see. You know how it is, though, if you don't go to the movies for a while and you go, I've been at the Scranton Art House, but not for movies because it's a great event space, great little bar, all that. I've been by there to pick up popcorn to take home. I've done that. But the movie experience was outstanding. But the movie, I don't know. I don't, and you're going to question your religion. No. If God created us, he could have created all kinds of things. Now, they, in due respect, they did have a nun. They wove a monastery or a novitiate or whatever. They wove it in there, and the nun said, God didn't say in the Bible that he created man, whatever. He created man on earth, meaning that the Bible leaves open the possibility of other life on other planets, which I'm sure there is. Particularly, and I only say if, by the way, if the universe is as huge as they say it is. There's a theory on the universe that actually we're reviewing, it's almost folded over, if you could picture that, and we're viewing and seeing depth to the universe that doesn't actually exist. Interesting theory. Anyway, yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It wasn't great because the movie experience is so neat. I mean, I don't have a chair that comfortable at home. I don't. I hate to say. But I look at it and I say, you know what? Okay. It was worth going to the movies, especially with my mother and my son. But the movie itself is not it's certainly not game-changing in any way. It's not a lot of things I haven't seen before. But, it's Spielberg and, he's lost his fastball, if that's his production. He's lost his fastball. But, and I don't say it as a criticism, hey, it was a movie worth making. He just could have made it a little better. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Phil Collins. This date, 1985, when he was at his hottest. He was his ninth top 10 charts hit with Sussudio at number 5. And to this day, nobody knows what that song's about. Nobody. And then before that in the history, Vice President Dan Quayle, relying on a faulty flashcard, erroneously instructs 6th grade student William Figueroa from Trenton, New Jersey, to spell potato with an E during a spelling bee. And I'll tell you, a professor of mine up at Rochester, who was the premier congressional scholar, wrote a book about Dan Quayle. And the true picture of Dan Quayle, he was great. He was smart. He was sharp, but he was an unapologetic conservative. And they had to destroy him and make him look stupid. And sadly, we allowed them to succeed. But a good guy. Well, it's Monday. What does that mean? Biden banner disgrace. Day 183. The Green Ridge Neighborhood Association, to its incredible disgrace, put up a hometown hero banner for Joe Biden on North Washington Avenue in Scranton. They maybe didn't know that the hometown hero banners are for veterans exclusively. So when they found out he wasn't a veteran and that they were only for veterans, what did they do? They voted 10-5 to keep it up. One of the fools actually saying he risked his life every time he left the White House. This is the mentality we're dealing with, the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association. You're a disgrace until you take that banner down. Biden banner disgrace, stolen valor, day 183. So after I think about the sickening specter of the Biden family and Joe Biden as president, we got to go to something great and beautiful, and that is Mother Teresa, St. Teresa for June 15th. She said, some in our country call God Ishwar. She was in India, remember. Others call him Allah, and others just call him God. Every one of us has to recognize that he created us for greater things, such as to love and be loved. Who are we to keep our people from looking for God who has created them, who loves them, and to whom we all must return one day? St. Teresa, Mother Teresa, for today. Hey, let's go to the blower. We got Charles from Scott Township on there. Hi, Charles. How are you?
Hey, it's good, Bob. Thanks for taking my call. Just a couple quick comments. First of all, about life on other planets. In the Bible, in the first book of Peter, it states that Peter says God created the worlds through his son, the worlds.
Oh.
Meaning that if he created other planets, I don't think he just left them empty. I'm sure there's other life on them then.
Sure.
And not only that, I used to wonder, I had a discussion with a friend of mine. Matter of fact, he wrote a song about it, that you think about it, we're the only creatures on this planet that in the wintertime we have to have clothing on to protect us from the weather. In the summertime we have to be careful not to get dehydrated. We can't. You could get any other animal. They could drink out of a puddle or a stream anywhere and never get sick. And they don't have to have any of that protection. They can wander right around out there in the snow and the cold weather and everything. And it made you wonder: is this planet really created for us, or was this like a form of punishment? Right? Right?
We were created to punish the planet.
But back, another one other thing about comment about the other day, I saw that on Fox News was showing that Devin Newsom and Hunter Biden. I thought to myself, that's all we need is an airhead. All we need is an airhead and a crackhead to run this country.
Well, no, you know what? If the Democratic Party takes over and takes power, we might as well have those two clowns in charge. Because it's just as bad or worse no matter who they put up. You look at their whole bench across the board, a bunch of scum.
Oh, I can't. I'm telling you what, I still cannot. I watch Fox News all the time, and I can't believe what kind of people they have running for these offices. It's just that guy in Maine. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
I know,
man. Yeah, but Bob, they were the ones going on about toxic masculinity and all that. And here's this guy. He comes out, and they're talking about, right? What was that one? I can't remember her name. The one a couple of years ago. You must believe when it came to women, right?
Yeah.
You must believe.
Now don't believe anybody that Graham Plattner sent dick pics to. I know. It's insane.
It is. The hypocrisy is incredible. It's amazing. It's just unbelievable. I mean,
by the way,
AOC
I like how you say that.
Say,
I like how you say that word. I think I'm going to start doing it. Hypocrisy. I love how you say it.
But it's amazing. But it's amazing. It's amazing. Then you have the lies, like especially from that. I call them not asking Jeffries. I call them obscene Jeffries. And
there's a good
lies.
name, obscene Jeffries. Yep.
Yeah. But anyways, Bob, back with the UFOs. I grew up in Carbondale, and I only lived a few blocks away from the pond back there. And when that UFO landed in the pond, and me and my friends used to go back there, play in the pond and everything back there, and I remember that incident.
That was neat. And it went on for days. By the way, there was not a final resolution to that, was there?
No. They made up a lie. They said somebody threw a lantern in. Come on, it was bigger than that. They had a flatbed truckle back there, and they had this big thing on the back, all covered up, tarped over and everything.
Well, one of the things I said to my son and my mother after we left the movie, I said, "There's no way that a conspiracy." Now there wasn't cell phones where you could take a picture at the drop of a hat, but there's no way. Even in the movie, they're showing all these people, escorting these aliens and all that kind of thing. And I said, there's no way they'd get away with it if it actually happened. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think there's alien life. I just don't think you're going to find it. And, I mean, how smart could they be if they're crashing on Earth constantly, right?
Yeah, I mean, but if you go back, another thing too amazes me is architect. When you go back and you see like these pyramids and the Mayan temples built on these islands in the middle of nowhere, how did they get those 2-ton stones onto the island, up on a mountain nevertheless?
Yeah.
Even some of the great castles in Europe, like in the mountains of Austria, and temples and everything in the 1600s being built. How did they get these huge stones and erect them and get them that high up at these steeples and everything?
Charles, a partial explanation for that is they weren't looking at their cell phones and watching TV. They were actually using their brains how to figure things out. Partial explanation, maybe not complete.
Oh, yeah. And physically, I think men were much more physically stronger than we are today. I mean, they were just incredible. Amazing. They was amazing because they were always they were working in the fields and they were working, farms and so on. They were doing everything done by hand. Carpenters back then didn't have chainsaws or anything like that.
Yeah.
They cut trees down by hand and everything. So you can imagine probably most of the men back in the day, they were probably like what we look at bodybuilders today.
Yeah,
You know,
could have been.
They were,
but it's,
oh yeah, they were. To me, they were much a much stronger society than they are today.
All right, my man. Always a pleasure, Charles. Thank you.
God bless, Bob. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Hey, we'll take this break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back. We've got the Veterans Tribute. We've got the weather. And we got Tina Morocco. The sunshine's coming. Our Veterans Tribute. This hour as with every hour. This day as with every day. Brought to you by our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga hospitality group. But today is Monday. So who do we feature? His first company, his biggest company, Eastern Roofing Systems. I mentioned Basiliga Hospitality because I got to go to the Scranton Art House. I got to go to Atera. Cutie got to go to Far Street Tavern. We got to go to the Stegmeyer Mansion this weekend. I mean, fabulous. But Eastern Roofing, the company that made it all happen. John was a roofer. He said, I want to do my own thing. He started his own roofing company. It has now become one of the largest and the premier roofing contractor in the eastern United States. Industrial, commercial, institutional. And they are headquartered in Jessup, so guess what? They bring all that expertise, all of that buying power to bear on your projects right here in Northeast Pennsylvania. And they do huge projects here, but they'll do your house. You can't get that kind of expertise. You can't get that kind of buying power. Eastern Roofing Systems. Larry Wynn. He was 76 when he passed, June 3rd. He was from the Lime Ridge section of Bloomsburg, a Vietnam Navy veteran. He loved woodworking. He spent his lifetime in the Bloomsburg area. Proudly served his country by serving in the U.S. Navy during the Vietnam War. His last job was at the former Smucker's Pet Food as a boiler operator and mechanic. He retired in 2017. He was a member of the Catawissa American Legion. He loved woodworking. Sadly preceded in death by his wife, Linda, back in 2025 of last year. 4 of his siblings predeceased him. Tragically, a grandson, Justin Wynn. I apologize. He's survived by his son, Jeff, his wife, Vicky of Bloomsburg, his daughter, Edith, Ann, and her partner, Heather Gowerty of Palmetto, Florida. Grandson, thank God, Justin Wynn, and his wife, Betsy of Bloomsburg. Granddaughter, Kimberly. Great-grandson, great-granddaughter. 5 siblings remain as well. Larry Wynn, our great veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Eastern Roofing Systems. Oh, that's the weather. AccuWeather tells us all about the weather, but Montage Mountain Resort brings us to you. And by the way, we are in full swing at the amazing water park up there. Today, partly sunny, not as warm, lower humidity, nice afternoon for outdoor activities, 73 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny, nice afternoon for outdoor activities, high 77, low 55. Wednesday, blend of sun and clouds with a couple of showers, more humid, high 78, low 62. Thursday, windy and humid, clouds, breaks of sun, gusty thunderstorm in the afternoon. Storms can bring flash flooding and damaging winds, high 86, low 60. Friday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, passing shower in the afternoon, 75 degrees, low 54. And that just means another great week for the water park at Montage Mountain Resorts. Right now at Montage, 64 degrees. No, it's not Tina Morocco. It's the song. It's in our music history today. We know that from Tina Morocco's sales advisor at Sotheby's International Realty in Naples, Florida. But no. It's in our music history. Murph says Katrina and the Waves moved into the top 10 charts at number 10. This date, 1985, with their hit, Walking on Sunshine. It's a great song. As I said, it gets me pumped up to hear from Tina. We'll hear from her later in the week. We're going to hear from her tomorrow. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. And, yeah. Bob, it's LTS, new poll. Paige Cognetti beating Rob Bresnahan 45 to 43%. Saying that Rob is not addressing the kitchen table issues. Well, I don't agree with it. That's not true. That's not true. 45 to 43, you take something that to mean something? Come on, please. Actually, that's better than I thought it would be. With all the lies she's telling, with how much dark money, with how much left-wing money she has, that means he's going to win. Man, that poll makes me feel better. That makes me feel so much better. They're in a statistical tie. By the way, the negative ads against Rob Bresnahan started before he got sworn in, saying he was cutting Medicaid. Cutting Medicare. Well, I'm on Medicare. You can cut anything. It's a lie. They will lie. Paige Cognetti will lie and say anything for power, just like all the Democrats. All the leading Democrats, I should say. Crazy. Joe from Trips Park. Imagine being so intelligent you can travel light years and defy our laws of physics only to arrive at a planet and play peekaboo with a grainy camera and then fly away. I know what you mean. Somebody regarding the clip we just played, you mean they cheated in Los Angeles? Come on, man. Seriously, it's the teeny-weeny tip of the iceberg. The Democrats, the left, will do anything to win. That idiot Hakeem Jeffries, he got asked about the theft of votes in Los Angeles. Oh, I'm not familiar with those reports. The woman she's pleaded guilty to stealing votes. Nuts. I'm telling you, it is sad that these people have any purchase politically. They're truly awful. Their policies are failures. And they're insane. There's nothing else to define that. You think of their policies. The open border. Disastrous. Hundreds of thousands of Americans killed from the fentanyl that was allowed to pour in. Crime. Murder. Rape. And these people are fighting to keep these illegals in the country. It's insanity. Think of how it's beyond misguided. It's sickeningly stupid, for one. It's disgraceful. Free Palestine. I mean, think of the panoply of issues that these idiots will die on that they pay protesters to do. Think about it. They are wrong about everything. Everything. And they own the Democrat Party through money that is dedicated to destroying America. Unbelievable. Somebody texted in, you're right, like Karl Marx said, by any means necessary. I don't know if he said that, but whatever. Somebody said, remember, at the end of this era, and it's close, the Democrat Party will no longer exist. As it is currently constructed, as it is currently led, as the policies that it is pursuing, it should not exist. Period. It's a disgrace. It's a sickening disgrace, today's Democrat Party. It's an embarrassment. And we need a good party, a good Democrat Party, a good opposition party. And as bad as the Republicans are, it's not even a comparison. It's not even a comparison. It truly isn't. One is trying to be good. The other is trying to be evil. It's that simple. That's the Democrats. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be right back. Whitesnake. Murph tells us this date, 1987. He released their hit, Here I Go Again. We're going to finish with Ragged Old Flag in honor of Flag Day yesterday with Johnny Cash. Hey, let's go quickly, though, to Luciano from Luzerne County. Luciano, you got a minute, my man. Fire away.
Yeah, Bob, thank you for taking my call. Yes, I lived on Skid Row. Let me tell you what I did. I met convicts that were living in Los Angeles in Weingart Center. I met veterans that are living in Weingart Center. I still remember conversations I had with a few convicts. And these modern-day Democrats and the media doesn't expose this. I met some veterans and convicts that lived in Skid Row. They told me, do you know that in Mexico, you as an ex that used to be in prison, do you know that people that go to jail in Mexico, they're not – I've never been in jail, but they're not allowed to be in – they have to be fed in their cells. The inmates feed them and put food in their cells. Convicts that are in prison in Mexico are not allowed to leave their cells. They eat in their cells. They sleep in their cells. They cannot go into the yard.
Okay.
Bob.
Well, that would not be fun. I was on lockdowns probably 100 times, and they weren't fun when I was in.
Bob?
Yeah, quickly.
And then the media says how evil and wicked we treat our migrants. And we're going to tell the truth about what Mexico does to the Mexican convicts in Mexico. They do not leave their prison cell.
They are liars.
24/7.
We know this, Luciano. They're liars and phonies. Thank you, my
They're
man.
demons.
Thank you, man.
Bob.
All right, well, we're going to let Johnny Cash finish this out. I'll gavel to a close after he's done. But thanks for being with me, guys. God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow morning. But I'm going to gavel to a close after Johnny. But Cardos tells me it's noon. We got to go, and I'll gavel to a close this meeting, today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Adjourned.